Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Felipe Berni. I am the broker owner of Realty One Group Pacific here in San Diego County, and I have a special guest with us today. We have George from Old Republic Home Protection, Home Warranty. He's going to be jumping in just a little bit as well. And I wanted to start off by saying thank you so much for the North San Diego County of Realtors for putting this on this event. This is for you. This is for agents. This is for the realtors that are newer to the business to help you understand and have a game plan and walk away with a true takeaway of what I need to do starting tomorrow, right? So I want to say thank you so much for them, and thank you to George for being on the call. So again, my name is Felipe. I'm going to be the instructor today, and over the years, I've had the opportunity to work with hundreds of agents, from brand new licensees to experienced top agents and top producers in the industry. One thing I've learned is that success in real estate isn't about getting lucky. It's about building the right habits from the very beginning, right? Thank you for, I also want to say before we jump in, we're going to make this a little bit interactive. So in the chat, if you guys get a chance, just tell me how long you've been licensed. We'd like to know how long you've been licensed. Go ahead and throw it in the chat. So, 3 months, 6 years, whatever that is, whatever that looks like. Let's see, and let's test out the chat feature and make sure it's working as well. So go ahead and type that in while we're waiting for everybody else to jump in. And let's see, we got 1 month. George, why don't you show off here and tell everybody how long you've been in there. Just throw it in the chat if you get a chance. It's on the bottom of your screen.
Okay, you're a little, all right.
1 month, welcome. 8 years. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's amazing. 8 years. Welcome. I'm glad you're here as well. Always good to get back to basics. This is good. Let's see if we got a couple others. Oops. We still have some people jumping in. That's okay. So while you're doing that, let me ask another question. How many of you have ever sat down at your office or your desk or gone into the office and thought to yourself, okay, now what? Right? What do I do? If that was you, if you've ever felt that, go ahead and type in the word me in the chat if you've ever felt that way. And I want you guys to know you're not alone. As you guys know, the real estate exam teaches us how to get a license. It doesn't teach us how to build a business, right? All right, so we have still a few people jumping in. We have a couple of you saying me. So again, the test teaches us about, fiduciary duty. It teaches us about contracts. It doesn't teach us how to build a foundation. And that's what we're going to dive into today. So I'm excited to have everybody here. Before I start off with my portion, I wanted to give George an opportunity to introduce himself, and I wanted to give him an opportunity to tell us about how Old Republic is a valuable resource for all of us as realtors, and what exactly do they do. So George, welcome.
Thanks, Felipe. It's nice to see you again. It always has been. We've known each other a long time.
Long time.
Being here. I've been a home warranty specialist for Old Republic for over 3 decades. And, what I try to do is to help my clients, like what he's saying, build a business or repeat business is really what you want to do. And that comes from having reasonable solutions. Now, as a realtor, you're not really a part of the transaction. You're a catalyst to it. So the whole idea of this is to bring a seller and a buyer together in an arm's length transaction, which means full disclosure. It means trying to keep everybody relatively happy, and especially with the warranties, these are malfunctions that happen. You cannot disclose. It's not possible to do that. So from the seller's perspective, the home warranty guys like this business because there's less risk. You got a seller fixing up the property, disclosing. There's usually an inspection involved. So the home warranty packages they put together are they're much better than what you see in the direct channel. The direct channel, you can go on TV, you see them on a lot of companies in that business, but they don't know, the company doesn't know the risk that they're taking on. With the real estate channel, they do, and they love this business. So from the seller's perspective, what it does is it creates a goodwill gesture towards the home, the prospective buyer. It creates, like I said, goodwill. It's an insulation against some of these annoying things that you cannot disclose, but they're just the normal part of having a house. From the buyer's side of it, these distractions that come up are not just annoying, it can be a threat against their budget because they've already put a bunch of money down just to get into the property. And it's a push. So, a month, couple months, maybe a couple of weeks, that water heater starts to leak. These days, they're getting about $2,000. I feel like sometimes I'm in the wrong business. I should be a plumber. 2,000, 2,500, depending on the configuration that's there. But that's such a common problem, and they're not making them like they used to. The one I replaced was almost 30 years old. Not making them that way anymore. So the risk is higher. Getting into the property is more challenging, although I don't think it's ever been easy. It's never been easy, but it's a great investment for people, and they need your help. They need your help because it's a complicated transaction, and this is the biggest thing that they do financially in their lives, and probably the most rewarding. You got a place to live. It's an investment in the future. So that's really the benefit from the sellers and the buyer's perspective, making this tool a part of your real estate business, a regular part of it. I'm trying to think. Normally, I don't see too many transactions close without them. If you can't get the seller to provide, which typically that's traditional, or you can't get them to split the cost, I even have agents that purchase it themselves. That's how strongly they feel about it. So what is this and what is not? It's kind of important to understand. And I don't know what you know, so I'm just going to keep this kind of basic. Correct me if I'm wrong, Felipe. Get me in the right direction.
The audience is, for the most part, this is for new agents, and we're teaching them how to build their business and a foundation. So go right ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So what this is not, it does not guarantee the condition of the property. Sometimes people get a little confused about that, or their expectations. The way to control expectations is to use the disclosure form that's made available. Most of these companies have a brochure. If it's too salesy and not enough disclosure, you really want to get a disclosure statement that is going to show them what's covered, what's not, the terms and conditions, the typical stuff. Not that they're going to read it, but the fact that you gave it to them is really important. What I've been doing is going out on these caravans. I go to the listing agent and say, hey, if your client is inclined to have a value added to the property and an extension of goodwill, here's a not to exceed number. So now I'm talking about the RPA, right? The RPA, I think it's in the Q section part of it. It'll say buyer or seller to provide, not to exceed. So I'll give them a not to exceed number that looks reasonable. If I see, a pool there, I'll say, okay, here's a not to exceed. If I see a waterfall there, or if there's something unusual, I'll say, as a seller, you can provide this to your client. If the buyer wants to add something like an ornamental fountain, like those vanishing edges, or something like that, they can do it either through the close of escrow, or they can add it up to 60 days after the close of escrow, as long as there aren't any problems. They escrow people send us a check. They can call us with a credit card. We put it on, clean, very, very easy. So that's what I recommend, is to try to do the best you can to, number one, know the property. Unusually, I'm getting calls from some folks that don't know the property that well when I ask them some simple questions. But a good real estate agent is going to know the property, and they're going to have a package that is appropriate. It provides the industry standard of care. And again, this is because you want a relatively happy customer. These are expenses that they don't get too crazy, but what's small claims court? 12,500. These days I haven't been there in quite a while, but you want to avoid that issue. And what I find when working with people, sometimes with the buyers, most people are quick to be kind. They are, but if they don't understand what's going on, that's when they get a little serious, a little bit more less patient than they would normally be. So it's important to have that disclosure, to provide it to the buyer. It is a requirement by the Department of Real Estate for us to get what's called a declaration of insurance. It's the same information that you see in this brochure behind me. This is one of our brochures. It's the same information, identical. They will get that. What kicks it off is the check from escrow. So, but if they need to call, they simply call the 800 number. Our staff is specifically trained to work with them, to answer their questions, and to work with them and get their problem solved. They first want to qualify, is this something, that is even a home warranty issue? If they have a broken window, no, we don't cover that. So they'll help them with that. My help to you as an agent is going to come with my direct cell phone. Now, I'm going to put it in the chat, but I have to ask you to please do not share this with your buyers, with your clients. This is for your use only, and there's a protocol that I need to respect. So what I'll do is I'll put that in there, keep it, ask any questions, or if you run into a problem. See, here's the reason why when we ask realtors, what do you want to see in a home warranty? All they tell us normally in these surveys is, look, I'm a busy person. These are cryptic. They're hard to understand. All I need is help when I need it. Because again, these are service centers. So it's like a machine. Very rarely do I ever talk to a real person, a live person, because it's a low margin, high volume business. And it doesn't lend itself to, a person, the Maytag repairman. I'm dating myself here, if you remember him, right? The lonely guy that picks up the phone and says, hello. That's not the way things work anymore these days. If there's a live person that actually answers the phone, they're probably in the Philippines, maybe somewhere else. But they have to do the same. They have to go through the same system in order to get that call forward. So as an agent, do not call the center if you have an issue. If the buyer calls you, you call me. So I'm here to provide that service. It's a stewardship I take very seriously, because I know that this is business that you want to keep repeat business. You want to have people who are going to be relatively happy. I say relatively happy because when things happen like this, people get excited, they get emotional. There's no water in the house, they can't use the facilities, or worse, the water is all over the place. And I've got war stories that would just, make your skin crawl, as long as I've been in the business. And so we do everything we can to facilitate and to get these things corrected so that you have a relatively happy client. And like I said, most people are very quick to be kind. But that's the nuts and bolts of it. Especially a new agent is going to have questions like, I've heard about pre-existing conditions in a situation where they're going to deny the claim. Do I have to wait? Do you ask for an inspection report? These are the kind of things that you're going to run into inevitably. And like I said, I'd be happy to help you out. I don't know how much detail you wanted me to get into, Felipe.
I think we're good. I think, if anything, George, the main question is, how do I get a hold of you if I'm new to the business or 8 years in the business? How do I get a hold of you so that we can, I would encourage you all to, after speaking to your respective offices and your brokers, managers, team leaders, things of that nature, let them know that, hey, I want to get together possibly with George here with Old Republic. Is that a good idea? So that he can share how he can help me in my business, right? Talk to George. Take him out to coffee. He might even buy you a coffee if
I
you're
will
good.
do that.
But just to share with you the strategies of how he can help your business. So, George, if you can on the chat, would you mind putting your contact information?
I absolutely will. This is my direct cell phone. If I can't pick it up, please leave a message. I will call you back.
I love it. So, George, thank you so much again for all the information, helping us out, always being there for us. I have known him for a long time, and he's been in the business over 3 decades. So that's a long time. So while he's doing that and putting in the chat, I'm glad to have everybody on today, because today we're going to change the game. We're going to talk about giving you actual takeaways, actual steps, or as I labeled it on here, the blueprint for how you're going to build your business. I hope you're excited because obviously this is the most important part of our industry, of our careers, and how to successfully launch our careers to make sure that we stay in this business for the long haul. So this is going to be the blueprint for everyone. Be ready to take some notes. I love interaction, so if you have questions, throw them in the chat, raise a hand, do whatever you need to do there. And I wanted to remind you a couple things first and foremost. Again, this is brought to you guys by the North County Association of Realtors. The goal here is for us to work concurrently with your current companies. All of you are with different organizations, different companies, different levels of your career. Make sure that you take what you learned today back to your office, talk to your broker, talk to your manager, talk to your team leaders and say, hey, these are the steps that was kind of given today. Do you think this is a good idea? What should I implement? Your managers, your brokers, they're actually going to love the fact that you're taking the initiative to actually understand how to build a foundation. And make no mistake, that is the goal for today. So hopefully you guys are excited with that. So I want to, now just a real quick, George, you're the only one I can see. Can you give me a thumbs up? Can you see my screen where it says how to build your business? Awesome. Okay.
Yes.
Sweet. So then we're going to dive right in, you guys. What you're going to walk away with today. Okay, so again, I'm a very interactive person. I love interaction. So I want to dive into what we're going to take away. And these are 5 things that you're going to discuss with me today to launch your business now. My goal is tomorrow you have an agenda. You know what you need to do. You're not going to be floating around anymore, not knowing. Somebody said they were in the industry for 1 month. Congratulations, that's a big step, right? So now, if you've gone to the office recently thinking, what do I do? How do I build business? I just keep hearing the top agents talk about how they get business by referral. I'm going to teach you the steps. The good news is there's no secret to real estate. The secret's out there. It's been out there for a long time. We know what we need to do. No one really takes the time to encourage us or guide us through that process, and we're going to do that today. So, number 1, we're going to talk about prospecting from zero. I'm 1 month in the industry, as the individual said, right? How do I start if I have nothing in the pipeline? I hope you guys would agree that the biggest challenge in this industry is getting that first deal. I feel like it's harder to get that first deal than it is to get the 10th. And that's because until we get that first deal, most of the times agents get their license and they don't have a process. They don't have a strategy. They don't understand what I need to do. Funny story, everyone I talk to always usually will narrow it down to a few reasons that they got licensed. And one of those reasons is always, I love talking to people. I love having conversations. I just love real estate, the ideology behind real estate. And I love having conversations with people. And then when I tell them, okay, your job is to go have conversations with people, then they shut down, right? So we're going to go against that today. So how do we prospect from zero? We're going to teach you how to build a foundation literally starting tomorrow. Number 2, we're going to talk about mastering your time. Time management is a big, big challenge in our industry. Most agents, when they first get licensed, again, you're an independent contractor. What that means is you're unemployed every day. That's my old joke. That means that you actually are a business owner, right? So some of you have had businesses and multiple businesses before getting a real estate license. Some of you maybe right out of school, got your license, and you've never owned and operated a business. So you don't understand how to coordinate your time. And we're going to talk about mastering your time today to make you efficient as real estate professionals. Number 3, we're going to talk about marketing on a budget. So I'm sure that you guys see all the advertisements. The minute you got your license, you got bombarded with emails, phone calls. Hey, this is what top producers are doing in your area. Hey, I'd love to sell you this. Hey, I'd love to sell you that, right? So we're going to talk about how you can leverage marketing, all the technology, things that are out there today, such as ChatGPT, AI. We're not going to do a class on AI, but we're going to talk about some of the resources that you have available to you to be able to market or brand yourself and hopefully on a budget, okay? Number 4, we're going to plan with purpose. This will be interactive. We're going to actually, I'm going to make you do something that you did not have to do to pass the real estate exam. a little bit of math. That's it. I'm going to have you do a little bit of math today because we are going to walk away with a game plan and a goal. Every single person on this call individually will have a goal, and you're going to understand what it takes to get to that goal. So we're going to do a little bit of math today when we plan with purpose. And then last but not least, I'm going to teach you how to avoid the pitfalls. My experience, George's experience, the people, the wonderful people at the board of realtors here, we know what most agents struggle with. We're going to go over a couple of those today so that you avoid it. I want you to use our experience to avoid those uphill battles from day one. Okay? Somebody threw on the chat, LOL. I'm not sure what part that was, but I appreciate it. As always, I love the interaction. All right, so number one, let's talk about building a business and prospecting from zero. So as you guys see the photo here, I love history movies. I don't know if you guys saw The Odyssey recently. I thought it was awesome. But this is the movie 300. And George, we got your contact info. Thank you so much. So prospecting from zero. So you don't need a whole network to start, right? I wrote that down on there. You need a system, okay? You need a system. If some of you said 8 years in the industry, maybe a little bit less, maybe a year in. If you've ever gone to any panels, top agent, panels or conversations in your offices, when they ask the question to any top agent, where does your business come from? You're going to now realize, and you're going to, because I'm telling you, you're going to, next time you go to something, you're going to realize they always say the same thing. About 50% of my business is repeat and referral. The rest of it from blah, blah, blah. Okay? So my understanding of that is the foundation of a successful real estate career is built on conversations and building a pipeline. Okay? So again, when you go back tomorrow to your offices to talk to your managers, your brokers, and all the people that help support you in your industry and your growth, I want you to tell them this. I took a class yesterday at the Board of Realtors, and they were helping us understand how to have a game plan for our business. My goal is to race to get to 300 contacts in a database as quickly as possible. Okay, the race starts today. You need to have no less than 300 contacts in a database. Let me tell you why this is important. In our industry, and all of you on this call have cell phones. You probably have contacts in there. I guarantee that if you look after this call, if you look at your cell phones and you look at all your contacts, say 1,000 contacts, 500 contacts, 10,000 contacts, I guarantee that 1% of everybody in your cell phone, 1%. So if you have 300 contacts in your phone, 1% or 3 people bought, sold, or referred a real estate transaction this last year. Guaranteed. So the reason I tell agents when you just, license is fresh, just off the printer, your first priority is to understand the mindset that my job is I need to get to 300 contacts as soon as possible. Because lo and behold, if you just do that, if you take nothing else away from today and you just do that one step, you're going to run into 3 transactions, 3 conversations. Now, conversion is a different thing. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But you're going to have the opportunity to get 3 closings this year doing nothing else. Our job as brokers, managers, trainers, your companies, their job is when you go to them tomorrow and say, hey, my job is to get to 300 contacts. I'm going to build my database, and we're going to talk about databases in a second. When you tell your companies this, you're going to then say, so once I get there, you then need to understand how to get to 3, 4, 5% closing of that 300. So the successful agents that are, for example, with my company, they're closing an average of about 5% of their database. So 300 contacts, if you can get to 5%, now you're closing 15 transactions a year. Hey, I became a top producing agent in San Diego. just like that, right? That's the secret to success in real estate. It's always, how big is the database? That is your foundation. That is your rock. That is what's going to separate you from the agents that try the business for a year and then fall out. We don't want that to happen to you. There's statistics out there. They're very scary. They can come across very scary to new licensees. I'm here to tell you, you're going to beat that norm. Okay? We're going to get to 300 contacts. So real quick, throw a heart emoji, a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you think of this strategy. I want you to give me some feedback here, because I work off feedback and coffee, and I'm all out of coffee. So I need some feedback. But I want you guys to really hone in on this. The race starts today. So if the goal is to get to 300 contacts, because I know that if I have 300 names, numbers, emails in a database, that I will be able to get to 3 transactions, or at least the conversation opening of 3 transactions. Okay? But again, we're going to push that a little bit, and we're going to try to get you to the point where you can close, more than 1% of that. So 300 is just the starting point. So now you have a job. Now you have an actual duty of what you're supposed to do every single day. So I want you to write down that number really large, 300. That's my strategy. Now, some of you are going to cheat and say, okay, I have 10,000 contacts in my phone. I'm going to put them all in my database. Well, it's not that simple. Okay. Now, again, if just by doing that act, you're going to have way more opportunities than you had last year, because you did the step of putting them in the database. But what I then need you to do is, if that's what you end up doing, I need you to go back, and now you're going to go through and skim that database, and you're going to look for opportunities, and you're going to separate people from family and friends to potential opportunities, homeowners, renters, investors. All of these things are categories that you can break down, which is going to help you get down to opportunity. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to take a quick pause and look at the chat. Somebody said, yes, I love it. Okay, great. Nobody hearted it. So I guess, we'll just keep going. So the race starts today. Any questions on the goal, the objective of getting those 300 names? Okay, so hopefully this is different than just, hey, talk to more people, have conversations. I'm giving you the actual roadmap here. This is the priority, is we have to get to 300, okay? Your brokers, your managers, they're going to love you. They're going to say, oh my gosh, this person is a go-getter. They know what they're doing. They have a game plan, right? So the difference is you now have the strategy, and that's step number 1. We have to get to 300. I can stress on this all day. I could do a 2-day class on this, the importance of this. Now, how do I get to 300 contacts? Well, step number 1, check your phone, as I mentioned. Step number 2, this is where, when they say do open houses, have conversations, etc., every single conversation that you have, if it's real estate related, whether you're door knocking, which we could do a class on in the future, open houses, successful open houses, all those names and information that you're gathering, those are potential people that you're adding to your database to get to that 300, right? Now, the database is a living, breathing thing. It's going to do this every year. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. You're going to let people go, and you're going to add people. Oh, this person moved to Tennessee. I don't personally drop them, because I then call an agent in Tennessee and I build a referral network to say, hey, I have clients moving to your neighborhood. Let's build a referral network, right? So again, everything is an opportunity. But again, your database is going to do this. Maybe somebody, my neighbor is George and he's licensed and he's going to help me. So I really like you, Felipe, but I like George more. Okay, they fall off my database. I have to replenish that now. Does that make sense? So again, always have that number, that goal identified. And again, I'm giving you the goal that you're going to start with, because I don't want to spend time asking you what is your goal for your data. Hey, start with 300 minimum. Day 1, go to the office. We got to get to 300 as fast as possible. Okay. Now, your respective brokers and companies, they probably already have database systems that they provide you. Talk to your team about that. Hey, what database do we use, or what CRM do we have? A CRM. Hey, yeah, we provide you with XYZ. great. My suggestion is the best database is the one that you're actually going to use. So when I first got my license, it gets very, very easily can you get to a point where you start spending money and buying all this stuff. Don't buy anything. Talk to your team first and say, hey, do we have a CRM that I can utilize, right? I'm new to the business. Day one, I just got my license. Yes, we have this. Great. Dive in and start adding names, numbers, emails as quickly as possible, right? Then the next step is you're going to follow up with those people, and that's how you're going to build those relationships. But again, this is just to create the foundation. All right, so another quick pause. We had somebody on the chat said yes on the door knocking class. Please, okay, cool. Yeah, I do it. I can do a door knocking class. We'll talk to the board, and we'll see if maybe on the next section we can. Oh, sorry, I went backwards here. We can possibly do a door knocking class that can produce results. Okay, so we'll make a note of that. Now, going back to the database, so 300. This is the key. And by the way, door knocking. That's a very quick way to start meeting people to add to the database, to get to 300. We're almost into August. We're almost into the fourth quarter of the year. My favorite, right? Because in sports, and I'm a sports buff, everything, all the action happens in the fourth quarter. Same with real estate, right? This is where we button up. This is where we really drive it home and make sure that we get to a point where we create an outstanding year for ourselves. So race starts today. That's step number one, and that's the importance of the database. Okay, if there's any questions, let me know. Now, you want to start by owning your farm area, become the go-to expert, block by block. You know, there's a bunch of different ways to do that. The door knocking, the open houses. At the end of the day, all you have to remember is your priority is to build up to 300 contacts. How are you going to get those contacts? The easiest way and the most inexpensive way is by hosting those open houses, okay? Doing some door knocking possibly. And again, we'll teach you that in the next one about what to say when you door knock instead of just, hey, are you thinking of selling your house? I mean, again, there's ways of doing things. I believe in building relationships first, and that's the priority, and your foundation will grow. Host open houses. I mean, that's a very simple way, but now you're doing an open house knowing that the goal is to add to the database. It's not to do anything else. So before today, some of you that are new in the industry, you probably have been told by your companies, hey, do open houses, but you just didn't really understand what's the goal. Now you have a goal. The goal is you're just adding to your database, building your resume and adding to your database, okay? Make daily lead generation non-negotiables, okay? Be honest with yourself. Before today, you were possibly looking at your schedule, if you had a schedule, and saying, what do I do now, right? What do I do today? I guess let me go to... They're doing a happy hour for so-and-so. Let me go to that. Again, is that generating your database and is it adding to your database? Possibly not, right? Focus on what is a lead generation activity and make it a non-negotiable, right? From this time to this time, I am generating and adding to my database. That's the importance of this. So as you guys can tell, I really talked about this for a while because this, to me, is the first priority for you. Okay? Any thoughts, questions, comments? Looks like one quick long comment. Never too late to reset your real estate business. So much to learn. Thank you for this. I'm an 11-year agent who supported my family with real estate since year one. Here to learn a system that works for me now that I'm an empty nester, ready to go. Stand over reminders task. Much gratitude for your time and knowledge in NSDCR. I love it. So yes, and again, thank you to the board for even allowing us to do this. It's super important. So as you guys can see, if you're new to the business, we have people that are 8 years in, 11 years in, and they say the same thing. Hey, it's never too late to go back to basics and having that game plan. All right, so that person that's 1 month in, this is everything for you. You got to get to 300. It starts today. And the next time we do a class, I'm going to ask, and hopefully some of you have increased that to 500, 1,000. I'll give you a quick example. I have an agent doing over $100 million a year in business in my company. Their database is about 20, let's just say 2,000 people, okay? 50% of their business comes from referral and past clients. Now, they have a system to follow up with and stay top of mind with those people. They do client events, et cetera, But again, at the end of the day, I don't want to be hunting for new business for the next 30 years. I want to build a foundation of people that know, like, and respect and trust me so that they begin calling you saying, hey, we're thinking of doing this. Hey, my daughter is doing this. Hey, my son is graduated and now he's looking for blah, blah, blah. That's what you want in this industry. You want people calling you, asking you your professional opinion and your advice. Okay, so this is going to help you get there. All right, so hopefully I didn't beat that one to a dead horse. Now, next category. I want to talk briefly about time management. Time management that actually works. Now, just a quick, throw it in the chat. Does anybody use Google Calendar? Any type of tech to maintain a calendar for themselves? Just throw in there. If you're using something, just maybe throw it in the chat. What are you currently using to manage your time? The person that said 11 years in the industry, you probably do what I do, which is I'm old school. I still have that big desk calendar I get every single year at the beginning of the year. Title reps, George probably has some. I mean, they always bring in these massive desk calendars. I love that thing because I go in pen, paper, and I write down my calendar. I just, for the last 3 years, started getting into Google Calendars because it syncs with your phone and you can also sync it with your team, right? I have employees and stuff like that. You might have a TC, a transaction coordinator that's part of your team. You might have a broker that says, hey, tell me what you're up to so that I can help guide you. So I use Google Calendar, and I think it's important for you guys to take a look at it as well. So let's see what some of you are using. Yeah, Google Calendar. It syncs with personal. I love that. So again, Google Calendar, great system. Now, let's talk about time blocking. If your calendar looks like something along these lines, that's great. Okay, if it doesn't, don't worry. Most of us don't start here because we've never had to do this before. But I want you to start coordinating and thinking about your day, your week, your month, and your year, and taking a look at it and saying, how do I stay organized and how do I make something a non-negotiable? Right? So I'll probably show you my calendar here when we're done with the class so you guys can see what it looks like. But again, for me, the priority is we start with the year, and the desk calendar is great, or Google, okay? You start by taking a look at your year and you say, I know I'm not going to work 52 weeks a year. Hopefully, right? That's not why I got into this business. 48 seems to be a realistic number of weeks. 48 weeks is a realistic number. So I look at the year and I say, okay, 12 months. I know that I'm going to take that trip to Spain and I'm excited for that, by the way, next year in March. Okay, I know that Christmas is coming around and I'm going to have family. I know I'm hosting for Thanksgiving this year. So I'm going to block off that time, and that's totally fine. You want to look at your calendar, block off the time and be realistic with yourself. Block off the time so you can visualize, and when you're off, you are off. I want you to enjoy your time off. I want you to take that time off and enjoy. But when you're on, you better be on, right? And that means that we're getting to that 300 contacts. We're focusing on some of these techniques, et cetera, et cetera. So I want you guys to look at your calendar like that. Start with the year. Go ahead and block off, back to school. I'm going to be doing this in the summer. I might need a month to Take a look at it, and then it's gonna open your eyes to say, oh man, I'm taking more time off than I'm working this year, right? Or whatever. But you want to look at it, and then you want to break it down by monthly activities, saying, okay, August is right around the corner. I'm not looking at July, I'm looking at August. August is right around the corner. What am I focusing in August? Well, I know that my company has a sales meeting on this day. I do want to attend that. I know my mentor, my broker, my trainer, whoever wants to meet with me this day, or they hold me accountable on this day, or hey, I started a group on this day. Whatever your month looks like, block off the main stuff, right? NSDCR is doing a training on new agents on this day. Block that time, which most of you have already. But I want you to break it down from the year to the month, then you look at the week, okay? If you want to take a quick glimpse at how your business is doing, I say show me your calendar. Okay? If you haven't prioritized it in your calendar, it doesn't exist. It's not going to happen. George made the reference of it was at Maytag or whatever, the commercial where the guy just waiting for the phone to ring. it ain't going to ring. We have to make it ring, right? So looking at your calendar is important. So when you time block, if you've never done a class on time blocking, just a quick synopsis, you want to make sure that you batch certain things. I need to get to 300. So whatever you're going to call that, leads, prospecting, database generation, 300, just write down the word 300. From this time to this time, I'm going to generate. I'm going to add to my database. You got to give yourself some time off and be realistic. Just because you hear motivational speakers say wake up at 3 in the morning and blah blah blah, don't add something that you're not going to commit to, right? Just give yourself those windows of time. So for example, from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., you might want to leave that open for following up with the previous day escrows, your business, and I want you to mentally start thinking and scheduling as if you already have 5, 10, 15 clients at one time. You need to give yourself that room. You need to plan for what's to come, not for what you have currently today, if that makes sense. So if your time needs to be filled by adding to your database, that's your priority. But make sure that you batch certain things, right? If you're going to do practicing, accountability, roll call, whatever, you want to batch those times, because other than that, those are your goals. Does that make sense? The most important thing about time management, it's right here. Really protect your hard stops. Really protect your time off, or burnout ends more careers in this industry. George, you can attest to this. Burnout ends more careers than slow markets. Isn't that crazy? Burnout is insane, because again, I feel that when agents don't have a visual plan, when they don't have a goal set in mind, a lot of us have never owned businesses before again. So independent contractor means you're unemployed. You need to be the one to come up with the plan. You need to have your own business P&L. You need to have your own goal setting. You need to know what's happening with the market, right? So that you can count what to account for in your industry. So protect your time, protect your hard stops. If you know you have something and somebody's talking to you about Facebook or the soccer game, and you say, look, I love it, let's catch up later, I got to get going, I have an appointment at 1. Okay, so please be protective of your time, and measure your time on income producing activity, not busy work. Let's get the busy work word out of the equation for now, if that makes sense. Okay, so I want to take a quick pause here because I've talked a lot, so I want to see what's on the chat. I don't see George's contact information. Yes, he did. We'll make sure that he gets that over again, and then I'm sure the wonderful people at the board will also send a recap email with the slides and with George's contact information as well. Okay, so moving on. So any questions on time management? The next thing I want to talk about is tech, social on a budget, right? Marketing myself on a budget. So we know that our priority is we have to get to 300 contacts. How do I start getting myself and separating myself from the 10,000 other agents that are licensed here in San Diego County, and so on and so forth? So first things first, before we get started, I just want to really emphasize and remind you, each of you are with different companies, different brokers, talk to your brokers, talk to your managers. This is your team. These people want to see you succeed, right? So make sure that you go back and talk to them and tell them about your CRM. Ask them about what tools does the brokerage provide for us as agents so that I can start utilizing some of this stuff, okay? And I'll tell you right now, one of the biggest challenges that we see, and this is probably in the steps to avoid at the last slide, is agents spending too much money to start without having a plan. You're buy friendly. You want to make sure and go out there and buy everything, and you want to pay your way to success. Now, you can pay for a lot of things that are beneficial, make you more efficient. My thought is this: I just got licensed yesterday. I need to understand the business and build my foundation before I go spend business, right? I also used to always tell agents that are new, your first year in the industry is your learning year. You should learn before you start to earn massive amounts of money. So I don't say that don't close the deal in your first year. Don't take it the wrong way. I'm just saying really understand your craft. Become a professional. You want to be known as the professional? be the professional, right? Like learn the industry, learn and understand the business so that you can start earning some really good money. So talk to your team first. All right. Hey, what tools do we have that I should start utilizing today? The guy yesterday told me on the call that hey, I should get to 300 contacts, and that's my priority. Step number one. Do we have something I can organize this stuff in, like a CRM or a database system? Use the free stuff that your broker provides. I can't stress that enough. So start with that. Okay, when you want to get really experienced and crazy with it and start doing some funky stuff with AI, you can spend some money down the road if you need to. But you'll quickly realize a lot of the brokerages have some really cool stuff now, and it includes everything you already need. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Board of Realtors, I think we also have access to a database system, or we used to. I'm not sure if that's still around. I'll let them jump in when they get a chance. Okay, so talk to your team. Tech and social media on a budget. You need to get in the habit of posting. This is regarding social media consistently on one platform. Okay, so some of you have been in the business for a long time. Some of you are just starting off. I would suggest one thing. Again, burnout is real in our industry. And I see people that start saying, oh man, I got to do TikTok dances, YouTube channels, videos, short reels, Instagram posts, Facebook posts. You know what? Don't overdo it. Again, your number one priority in regards to branding is to make sure that people know you're in real estate. That's it. Okay? You don't have to go all in on 10 different types of things, in my opinion, until you perfect one of them, okay? Until you get consistent with one of those things. So I would prefer to see somebody doing really well and consistently well with one platform versus 50, right? I don't think I need to see, for example, George, again, you've been in the industry for over 3 decades. I don't think that you're out there doing TikTok dances yet. I think that you possibly are every now and then just posting something that's relevant to your side of the industry, which is the home warranty side. And again, people want content, but at the end of the day, if I see George every single week on social or some form of a platform, maybe even in person, because he drops by the office, and he's home warranty, home warranty, home warranty. When I get to the point where I say, hey, I got my first deal, I think we need a home warranty. Well, I met George. Let me call George. The first person that's top of mind is the first person that's going to get that business or the opportunity. Does that make sense? Now, you guys have heard the horror stories that you don't ever want to drive down your street going home on your way home, and then you see a for sale sign from some other company for your neighbor's house that just listed for sale. Why the heck didn't they call me? Right? So marketing, the priority and the goal for branding and marketing is to make sure that your audience, your sphere of influence, and your database, that they know that you're a real estate professional, that they know that you're in the business. That's all you need. You just need that one little, that little push, that reminder to be top of mind, so that if they decide to say, well, I think it's time to sell, who do we call? They're going to ask for referrals from their friends and family, and if you're top of mind, you're going to get that opportunity. If it's a neighbor in your neighborhood and you're constantly sending them things on a monthly basis, you think it's a waste of money? Guess what? No agent out there is doing it. There's a very small amount of agents that consistently send something to a farm, what we call a farm, which is a neighborhood, right? Every single month. It's a very small amount of agents that actually do it consistently. But I'll tell you what, that small amount of agents that do it every single month, I guarantee if you look them up, they're constantly doing business. They're top producers. So there's no, again, the secret's out. There is no secret. If you do something consistently, everything in this industry will work as long as you're consistent. Everything works. You want to buy leads? Buy leads. You want to door knock? Door knock. You want to do open houses? Do open house. Everything that you want to do will work if you're consistent and you own your craft, right? You want to be the best door knocker out there? There's a very small amount of people that are door knocking consistently to this day, but the ones that do are making a lot of money. Very small amount of agents, and some of us know them, that cold call every day. They're successful in this industry, right? So again, the secret's out. You just have to be consistent. But the goal for marketing on a budget is to not overwhelm yourself. Stick to one platform, make it good, make it valuable, make it short and sweet. Again, you're just there to remind people that you're in real estate because you want to be the person that comes up when the conversation starts. Does that kind of make sense to everybody? Throw me a little something on there. ChatGPT AI. Okay, so let's talk about ChatGPT and AI real quick. Again, not an AI class. ChatGPT is great. There's nothing wrong with it. As a matter of fact, just to show you guys, I did some of these photographs with ChatGPT. I just had it, pull in some photos and put it on here. There's a couple things that can happen with ChatGPT and AI, which is number one, I use ChatGPT and I want agents to use ChatGPT to figure out how to become more efficient and more effective as real estate professionals. Do not use it for legal help, legal advice, brokerage advice, contract advice. Do not use it for contract advice. Okay, stick to what works. Use it to help you identify how to become more efficient. So, how are we going to make this interactive? Here you go. Step number one, we talked about time blocking. Most of you using Google Calendar. When you go to AI today or whatever, and if you use ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you use, I want you to ask it, I'm a real estate professional, I've just got my license yesterday, I'm trying to use Google Calendar. Give me an example of a specific daily activity calendar that I could time block to be successful in real estate as a new agent. Get some ideas. ChatGPT is great for ideas, right? Hey, I need to get to 300 contacts in my database, chat. Give me some suggestions of how I can quickly get those names, numbers, and emails. How can I fill that database ASAP? My goal is to get there before the next 30 days. All right, how do I do it? So if you ask chat those types of things, it's going to really become successful and helpful to you. But again, I don't want you to ever utilize ChatGPT for contract advice, things like that. Talk to your brokers, talk to your companies. Okay? Does that make sense, everybody? Social media that's working right now. I mean, TikTok, Instagram, all these platforms, like I said, everything works, but what are you going to focus on specifically? Don't overwhelm it with just, funky stuff. When you do anything with social, just remind yourself the goal. What is the goal? The goal is I want people to say, oh, that's a realtor, right? That's it. It's perception. And perception is everything in this business. Okay? All right. So, we're going to actually turn everything that we've been talking about into a daily habit. All right, let's talk about habits because in our industry, if you don't have a plan, you guys have heard the saying, I just lost it. But George, help me out here. Fail to plan to fail, whatever. Plan. Make sure to, if you plan to fail, then fail to plan, right? Or something like that. So the goal here is I want to actually interact with you guys today and show you, let me put it to you this way. Real quick in the chat, if I guaranteed that you could make $250,000 in the next 12 months, and all you had to do was make 6 conversations a day, would you do it? Yes or no in the chat? Real quick. And careful before you answer. Everybody, of course, is saying yes. I can guarantee I can teach you how to make $250,000 in 12 months. It's 6 conversations a day. The problem is you don't want to do those 6 conversations, right? And I say you because I'm talking about in general. Agents, like I said, everybody gets their license because I love talking to people. And then I say, good, go talk to people. And then the agents, I lose them. They leave. I don't see them ever again. Like, what happened? I thought you loved talking to people. This is a conversation. This is a contact sport, right? We say that all the time. So I'm not going to just preach it. I'm going to show you how to come up with exactly what you need to make the money that you want to make in the next 12 months. Today, we're going to walk away with it, okay? So this is nothing new. I didn't invent this, but again, I'm going to teach you this because this is a priority. Now, again, you have goal number 1 is get those contacts because it's, lo and behold, out of sight, out of mind. If I build up that database, all of a sudden I'm going to get 2, 3, 5 transactions this year without doing anything but putting names and numbers into a database system, because the opportunity is going to come to you of, hey, so you know what? We've been talking and you're doing real estate, right? Yeah, well, okay. And this is Uncle Ed talking here, but yeah, so I'm in your database. I get your stuff every other month or whatever. But, we've been talking about maybe it's time. I think, blah, blah, blah is retiring. We're thinking about moving to Tennessee. Okay. So again, if you don't have those contacts in a database, that opportunity will not come to you unless you're constantly talking to those people. So number one, real quick on the daily habits, the importance of this is setting a goal. So again, if everybody said yes about if I guarantee 250,000 is 6 conversations a day, would you do it? You said yes. So we're going to set the goal today, and we're going to reverse into this income goal. So, I'm going to actually show it to you, and then we could share these slides, no problem. So we're going to back into your actual goal of what it takes to get there, because I'm sure as you guys have seen in your careers, some of you have been in the business a long time. If you've ever sat down to do a business plan, and people tell you, okay, what do you want to make? And everybody always says, yeah, I want to make 100,000, 500,000, $1 million, 200,000, whatever. But then it drops there. I don't know how to get to there, right? So we're going to back in. I'm going to teach you exactly how to calculate what you need. We're going to build a plan. We're going to map it out. And then we're going to stay accountable. We're going to track it. You're going to track it. And the importance of this business is tracking everything that you do. We're going to talk about that in a second. So I want you guys to, everybody get their pens out, and unlike the real estate exam, you're going to do a little bit of math today, okay? I always think that's so odd that the real estate exam has 0 math on it. All right, so don't mind the messy, graphic here, whatever. I want everybody to take a look at this. So the first question I have, and you do not have to put it in the chat, I want you to answer this to yourself right now, is I want you to start off by telling me what is your goal for the next, and call it for the next 12 months, for income. I want to know, this is gross income. We're going to start with it, and I'll give you, I'll run through it, and I'll give you, well, I don't know if I can type on this, but 100,000, 200,000, $50,000, whatever your goal is gross, I want you to put that, and then just real quick thumbs up or put done in the chat when you're done. I want everybody to do this together. So what is your annual income goal? Write it down. Okay? I'm going to follow along here. I'm going to use, I'm going to make it simple, and I'm going to do $150,000 just so you guys can follow along with the math. 150K for me, okay, just as an example. Go ahead and put in the chat once you have your goal down. What's your annual income goal? You don't need to put the goal, just tell me you're done. 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 500,000, whatever that is. There's no wrong answer, just choose a number that's meaningful to you guys. Okay, so we're good there. So I don't want you to choose a number because it sounds impressive. I want to make sure that you choose a number that is important for you in your life and it helps you guys. Okay, so make sure you take that time and do that. Okay, step 2, we're going to determine the average net commission per closing. So I'm going to give you my example using my fancy calculator, which is my cell phone. And I'm going to pretend that if my income goal is 150,000, what's the average commission? Hey, just do simple math here. If you're in San Diego, most of the area's average sales price is about 800,000, give or take, right? That's the average sales price. Carlsbad, we're at 1.5. Chula Vista, we're at, 850,000. So again, it varies from place to place. But for the most part, just do an average of whatever, $800,000. Keep it simple, okay? So what is an average commission? Well, if I take $800,000 as an average sales price times 2.5% commission, that is a gross average commission of $20,000, okay? Now, I said the word gross because that commission technically goes to your brokerage, and then it gets divvied up between you and your broker, and then or your team or whatever. So if you want to be more realistic, let's say I'm a new agent, I just got licensed, and I'm on a whatever 50-50 split, an 80-20 split, or whatever. Do that math in your head and round up, round down, but you're going to come up with a number. Now I did the simple math for number 2, 800,000 sales price, 2.5 commission. That's $20,000. roughly how much of that goes to me, right, before taxes and stuff. If I'm a new agent, call it 10,000, call it 15,000, whatever that number is to you. This is where you need to do the math, right? So in my scenario, my annual goal is 150,000, and I'm writing this down real quick. My average commission, I'm going to say, is 10,000 to me, just to keep the math simple. So now number 3, we're going to take that income goal, that's the 150,000, and we're going to divide that by the average commission. That's in my scenario, that's $10,000. So that's 15 transactions. If you get to a point where it's a little bit more, point this, point that, round it up. Okay? So I need 15 closings per month to get to $150,000 if I'm taking home $10,000. Does that make sense? Now, we're going to take that closing number, 15, divide it by 12, because we're going to break it down. How many transactions do I need to close a year? That is 1.25 a month. Okay? Round it. In that case, I'm going to round it up. I'm going to say I need 2 a month. Okay? You can round it down, round it up, whatever, but again, I need 2 per month. Why is this important, you guys? Real quick, let's take a break here. Why is it important? Because just to give you an example, in my company, I just launched a campaign and I told my agents, you guys get bills every single month that are due every single month. So shouldn't the goal be that you get paid every single month, right? It's a no-brainer. We want to get paid every single month. And if I can get you to the point where you're closing 1 transaction a month, 12 transactions a year, I think that everybody on this call is going to be a little bit happier at the end of the year, right? So that's a big deal. Now, some of you have loftier goals. Some of you have goals for $500,000, $300,000, whatever that number is. I'm going to show you what that realistically looks like once we break this down. So that's 2 a month that we need to close. Now, you guys know as well as I do, we can't account for, hey, the buyer lost their job and they had to cancel escrow, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know your ratios yet. So I want you guys to use 70% as a attrition or fallout ratio of those closings, right? Because if we get 12 escrows or 12 buyers or 12 sellers, we're not going to have 12 closings. So let's just use the number 70%. So I want you to take the 12 closings that you need, the closings that you need, which is, we said, I think in my scenario, we said 2, and you're going to divide it by 0.70. Okay? So that means you need 2.85 appointments to be able to get to 2 escrows. Does that make sense? You're going to write down that number and round it up. I'm going to say 3. Okay, so 3 appointments. Now, every appointment is not going to equate same thing to an actual contract, right? But again, the more appointments, the better. That's why I round up. So if I have 3 appointments and I divide it by the number of weeks that I'm going to work in the year. Remember, there's 52 weeks. I'm realistic. I'm not going to work 52 weeks a year. I'm going to give myself 48 weeks. Does that make sense? So 3 appointments divided by, divided by 48. 3 appointments divided by 48 weeks is going to be 0.0625. So I'm going to round it up to 1. Okay? Annual conversations, you're going to take that number and divide it. I'm going to say 1 divided by. Did I skip one here? Let me see. Hold on one sec. I'm going both. And then somebody put on the chat. Let me see if I missed one. So somebody said, can you repeat the number 5? And then George said 8. Okay. So repeat the number 5. So number 5, closings. Okay. So if I need, going to number 4, annual closings in my scenario was I needed, I think I said I needed 10 closings, right? Is that what? Oh no, 15 closings in my scenario to get to 150,000 because I said that I'm making $10,000 per transaction. 10 times 15 is 150. So if I need 15 closings divided by the number of months in the year, so there's 12 months in the year, so you're going to divide 15 by 12, and that's going to give you the number 2. You need 2 closings a month, or it's actually 1.25 or whatever I said to get to the 15. but I rounded up. So I said 2 per month. So I need 2 per month to get to my number of signed clients. Okay, did that make sense, you guys? Whoever asked the question here on the chat, let me see. Yes, okay, good. So on number 5, I need 2 per month because I rounded it up, so you can round up as well. And then you're going to take the number and you're going to follow these steps. You're just going to divide it by 70. 70 is the percentage of how many of those we're accounting for people falling out of escrow, backing out, not signing with you, et cetera, et cetera. So we're giving it a 30% attrition, which as you progress in the business, you're going to know your numbers and you're going to know, hey, I get 8 out of 10, or I get 7 out of 10, 70%, or I get 9 out of 10, or whatever your number is. So again, we're at the number, I'm going to start this over because I lost my place here. Annual income goal for me was 150. Average commission is about 10,000. I need 15 closings total to get to 150. Number 4, I'm going to divide it by 12. That gives me 1.25, and I'm not going to round up just to do this real quick. 1.25, so I'm on number 4, right? So I need how many closed divided by, so 1.25 divided by 0.70, in my opinion, is going to equal 1.78. And then I'm going to divide it by 0.70 again for signed clients to know how many appointments I need. And that's 2.55. So then number 7, I'm going to divide that by 48. That's how many weeks I'm working in the year. And that's 0.053. So I would normally round that up to 1. Okay. So I'm right here. So of those appointments, I'm going to put how many conversations do I need, right? So I'm going to divide that by 0.20 again. Still at 1. Okay. Annual conversations divided by 48, the final daily conversation commitment in my scenario is 1. I need 1 conversation per day. Literally 1 conversation per day. 5 days a week, 48 weeks a year. If I can get that, there's absolutely no way that I can't get to the $150,000. But see, by breaking this down, this shows you what you need to do in order to get to that 200, 300, 400 million dollars, which some of you might say, hey, that's impossible. It's not impossible. Okay, we have teams doing it all the time, every year, year after year. It's unheard. It's insane, right, to even fathom or think that. The difference here is that you have a structure, you have a guideline, you have a roadmap to how to get there. Before today, you probably hadn't done this yet. You probably didn't understand the value and the importance of not only having a conversation every single day with somebody about anything related to real estate, and what you do with that conversation is you add it to get to that 300 contacts. So I want to stop sharing my screen here just for a hot second because does this resonate with you guys? Do you guys see the importance of this kind of plan and why it's important to have this number, to understand this number? Just throw something in the chat real quick or any questions about it. And by the way, we're going to share this with everybody so you'll have this calculation. Go back to your office, do it with your team and say, hey, here's my yearly number. Here's what I want to get to, and this is how I'm going to get there. I know that I need to have 2 conversations a day. Okay? So gone are the days of you just hearing from people that, well, you got to have more conversations. Now you understand what it actually means and why it's relevant, why it's important. So back in the day, George, you could attest to that. We used to tell agents all the time, hey, hand out 5 business cards a day. That's your goal. Hand out 5 business cards. Because, again, we were trying to instill that, hey, get out there and just have a convo. Talk to people. Give your card out, right? So, but I wanted to really own in today about why it's important to have these conversations and what you're trying to strive for. So after today, everybody should know what their number, their goal is, and realistically, how you're going to get there. How many conversations you have to do in order to hit $250,000 a year. And I don't want you to just make it the impossible goal. I want you to make it that stretch goal, however, right? Because everyone on this call is going to impress themselves. If they know what they need to do to get to this, then I guarantee you that you're going to be a little bit more motivated, a little bit more eager to get it done. And I want you to take time to answer that question that was in the bottom of that. What would that mean for me and my family? If I hit that number, what does that mean for me? I don't want you to answer it today. I want you to answer it at home, right? Like really talk about it and think about it. And there's no better accountability partner than a spouse or a significant other or somebody that I say, hey, my goal for us is I want to get to this number, $200,000, whatever that is. This is why. And this is how I'm going to do it. Right? Because then guess what? Tomorrow when you don't wake up at whatever, you wake up at 10 a.m. or whatever, spouse is going to say, hey, what are you doing? you ain't going to hit that number by being home, if that makes sense. So I hope this is helpful, you guys. I hope this is good information and helpful, and I hope that this helped you guys realize how easy it is to get to whatever the goal is going to be. Okay, I personally don't like not being able to see everybody on Zoom, but whatever, it's okay. We'll make it work. So I want to take us home and wrap this up with a couple of common pitfalls. I promised you guys I would talk about these things. Okay, so these are, over time, we've experienced everything in our careers, being in this industry, working with hundreds, if not thousands of agents over the years, helping people get to their goals, making top producers out of people that just got licensed just like yourselves. And these are some of the most common things that I notice that get people to stop doing the business, right? To step away from the business or stop working. So number one, chasing every shiny tool. Okay, so I don't want you guys to get into this business and think that you need to invest and just buy everything that's being sold to you. You're going to get presented a lot of things. I always recommend you talk to your team first. Talk to your company, talk to whoever your trainer is, whatever. Talk to them and say, hey, I'm being presented with this. Is this a good idea? Don't do it, right? Just focus on what's free. If it's free, it's for me. If my brokerage provides it, let me at least start it and become a master at it. And I know that my goal is I just need to build my database, and I need to talk to 2.5 people a day, which is rounded up to 3, to hit my goal of $300,000, right? So that's my goal. That's all I have to concern myself with. What's this tool? Oh, this is a tool that helps you put an AI photo of yourself on Facebook. Does that help me get to that data? No, it's not for me right now. Does that make sense? Master a few things and then focus and build from there. Number 2, going quiet after a no. This is in relation to negotiations. I see a lot of agents struggle right out the gate that they've never had or heard people telling them no. They've never been in a sales environment, in an educational environment, and you hear a no for the first time and you don't follow up. I can't tell you how much success is after those no's. So instead of going quiet and silent, you don't want to bombard people, but you want to just not give up, right? Check in every now and then. Okay, check in, follow up with them, and don't say, hey, I'm following up. Nobody wants to hear that, by the way, right? So the dialogue that we teach our agents, the dialogue is this. You don't want to say, I'm just calling to follow up. You want to say something that's relative and personal, like, hey, George, I saw this article on Inman, and it made me think of you. Do you like that? I don't say hey, George, I'm calling to follow up with you about, I know you said you were thinking about buying or selling. Hey, George, I saw this article the other day about a housing bill being passed in the United States and what it means for first-time home buyers, and it made me think of you. Here it is. Do you think that's going to start a conversation? Yeah. It's going to get you way more success than I'm calling to follow up. So that's a little tidbit for today. The next one, undervaluing your own time. We talked about that. Don't undervalue yourself. Set those boundaries. Make sure that you have the focus of what you're doing that day. And last but not least, and I tell my agents all the time, you are your own business in real estate. So if you had any other business, or if you've ever ran a business, would you ever do it without having or creating a budget for that business? No. So treat this like a business. Don't wing your finances. Make sure that you establish a budget immediately. The budget can be $0, $50 a month, $5,000 a month, whatever. But be true to yourself. If you went to open a sandwich shop, a restaurant, whatever, a smog store, anything, there's absolutely no way if I gave you the keys that tomorrow you wouldn't sit down and say, what's my expenses? What do I need to make to cover my expenses? How much am I going to budget for my business every month for branding, marketing, advertising, this, that? But we don't do that for real estate. Starting tomorrow, I want you guys to sit with your teams, and you're going to say, this is my goal. This is my goal for income. This is what my job is to get to 300 contacts right away. And I came up with a budget of how much I can spend in advertising. It's $50 a month. It's not a lot, but it's what I got. So based on $50 a month, what would you advise me to utilize that $50 towards? Broker, manager, trainer, mentor, anybody, right? So again, oh, hey, guess what? We give you a free CRM. We give you a free website. I would suggest you use those $50 to just pay for some flyers or maybe some marketing material, maybe some door hangers, maybe start building your farm with that $50. You're going to bombard the crap out of 10 houses and then you'll grow from there, right? Does that make sense? So start somewhere, have a plan, and I wanted to leave you with that, you guys. So use what you have. We're beginning now. And I wish I could see everybody's faces and meet everybody. Any questions, comments, anything? Let's do a little quick Q&A. It's 11:15. Thank you, Tatiana. Looking forward to hopefully seeing you on the next one. Did this help you guys? Be honest. Does this help? Does this give you an idea of what you need to do tomorrow? Okay. Looking for more? Great. Okay, great. So Shirley, it looks like we have some requests in the hotline, right? So obviously we'll continue this. I believe the next session is going to be September 22nd via Zoom. And then I do want to talk to the board about possibly opening up and doing a door knocking type of a class. I think somebody said they'd be interested in that. So hopefully that's there. Everybody should have George's number. I think that the board is going to send out either a recording or they're going to send out all the information. George, you put it in the chat, but I mean, if they didn't get it, then hopefully we'll be able to get that information to them soon. George, thank you for your time. And again, thank you to the board for caring about our agents and our success and allowing us to do this. And I look forward to seeing you guys at the top. I'm going to write down these names. Good stuff, you guys. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Shirley, back to you. We're good.